air. Gold bells shining, they all dare. Tougher, fists held high. Warriors fight till the night says die. FWE, where battles divine. Every broken bone, all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. This ain't a game, it's FWE. FWE, where battles define. Every broken bone, all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. This ain't a game, it's FWE. Oh, FWE, FWE. Oh, FWE, FWE.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of FWE. As we're on the road to Paramount by way of Mortal Kombat, we got Saturday at Springfield this weekend. It's popping off with a wild couple of months before we get to the show of shows. I'm Seth Cole alongside of the Wayfinder Cruiser Champion Jack Mitchell, who of course is looking forward to this Saturday night as well. And Jack, as we continue our road to Paramount, how about an individual kicking off the evening that we know will fight for the Women's World Champion at that Showcase of the Immortals?
Hey, that makes two of us getting inside the Elimination Chamber this weekend, or not this weekend, but in a few weeks' time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what goes down there. But Mulan looks like going to get a little bit of a warm-up match as well, just like I did the extra episode a few weeks ago.
Making her way to the ring, representing the Queens from the People's Republic of China. She is
Mulan, the winner of the 30-woman Royal Rumble match back at Royal Brawl, guaranteed title shot at Paramount. Now, we still don't know exactly who she's going to face off against. That's going to kind of get determined this weekend at Saturday Springfield as Autumn Brooks gets another shot at the Women's World Champion Elizabeth Swan. You got to think that Mulan's going to have her eyes glued on that matchup, find out who their future opponent is going to be. But here today, as you mentioned, a little bit of a warm-up match here in preparation for a little over a month's time. That matchup looks like she's going to take on Moana.
I seem to have had my matches confused. Apologies about that. Obviously, Mulan is the winner of the Royal Rumble match, so she has the guaranteed match at Paramount, whereas I'm the one that has the match at the Chamber. So got things a little bit confused on my end, but nevertheless a warm-up match anyway as Mulan takes on Moana here in a few moments' time.
You got a couple of matches coming up. You're fighting for the Tri-Wizard Championship here this weekend against Dylan Young at Saturday Springfield, and then you put the Wayfinder Cruiser Championship on the line in that Elimination Chamber match at Mortal Kombat. So there's a couple of people that have some pretty busy schedules. Yourself, we know that Harley Quinn's had a pretty busy schedule. We saw her last week help Autumn Brooks be able to get that #1 contendership for the Women's World Championship. She's got a future title shot for the Women's Hardcore title, and she's in a qualifying match here tonight against Evil Queen to try and get into the Elimination Chamber on the women's side at Mortal Kombat. So a lot of people really filling up their schedules here as we draw closer towards Paramount.
A lot of busy schedules, a lot of different stipulations on the line in these matchups, a lot of title opportunities to be determined. So get this one started, shall we?
Lana getting the early advantage. Early cover here on the future #1 contender, and not even going to get a 1 count. Obviously for Mulan, we talked about how the Royal Rumble can spearhead your career. Mulan had found no success up to that point here in FWE. A lot of her Queen faction teammates had. We've got the current tag team champions on the women's side and Belle and Rapunzel. We got Jasmine, who's going to be in a qualifying matchup to try and get inside Elimination Chamber. I believe that's in the next couple of weeks. But Mulan not found a whole lot of success here with her faction finally getting it turned around. But let's talk about Moana. She's going to get another cover here. What happens if Moana wins this matchup? Got to be certainly a showcase that if let's say Mulan ends up winning the world title at Paramount, Moana's got a clear case to try and fight for the title at that point.
Yeah, I'd say by that point she might demand a title shot of her own. You say that you pinned the champion by that point. Obviously still a long way to go. A lot can happen between now and then, but something worth keeping an eye on for sure if tonight's match result goes Moana's way.
You already know a few individuals that on both the men's and the women's side are going to get inside Mortal Kombat. As a swing and a miss there by Moana. A little costly mistake, but then Mulan, little showboat, he's going to cost her, is into a Falcon driver there by Moana. We already know that Joker's advanced his way into the men's side of the Elimination Chamber. And we saw in a triple threat, or no, was it? I'm trying to remember what it was last week on the women's side. I'll double check on that here.
Looks like it was a one-on-one.
Oh, that's right. It was Kim Possible and Shigo going up against each other. Shigo, the first advancee on the women's side, and we're going to determine one more individual on each side here tonight. Anthony McCurry taking on Carson Gum in a qualifying matchup, and then Harley Quinn and Evil Queen, as we mentioned, on the women's side in a qualifying matchup as well.
Moana got the advantage on the outside of the ring. You see the fight spilled ringside and looked like a bit of a stunner move. Of course, this is a standard match, so pinfalls and submissions are the only way to win it. Has to take place inside the ring. And countouts are very legal, as referee Ernest Wright's already reached 5.
Moana go back to the outside. Hurricane Rana springboard from the top rope. That'll reset the count and inflicting more punishment there on Mulan. Moana's looked really good here out of the gate.
So far, Moana definitely proven her point. Reversing a bit of the momentum now. Getting the fight back in her favor. Can't take too long.
Bit of a senton there on the outside. Referee Ernest Wright back up to the count of 4. That's for both women here at this point in time. It's another Hurricane Rana. Moana taking advantage of the 10 count here on the outside. Now looks like she's getting ready to deposit Mulan back inside. Well, might have changed her mind for a brief moment. Now she'll put Mulan back in between the ropes. Moana's been really in control of this matchup right out of the gate. Nice top rope moonsault.
Almost makes you wonder if there are maybe a few mental obstacles that Mulan has to overcome as she gets ready to fight for the championship at Paramount.
Don't know just exactly how much the current women's world champion Elizabeth Swan would be keeping an eye on this matchup. Same for the #1 contender this weekend, Autumn Brooks. They'll be fighting for the title at Saturday Night Springfield. As here's a cover here by Mulan. Seemed very confident that she's got Moana put away, but a kick out at 1. I don't know, is there something that for both of those individuals, both those women, that you'd be trying to scout Mulan a little bit here just in case? You have to defend the title against her at Paramount. It's a big kick there. Big karate kick from Mulan from the top rope.
You know, I feel like, I thought she was going to go for maybe a stomp there of some kind. Ends up going for a kick. I feel like that pinfall right there that she just entered, that near fall, was for a bit of a mental thing. Kind of reassure herself that she's back in the fight here, back in the mix.
Mulan, oh my gosh, Bosaico elbow spinning with the forearm, and now might be setting up for a super kick right under the jaw. That could be it, but that took just as much out of Mulan as it did out of Moana.
Yeah, and Moana was back up to her feet first.
We're a few weeks removed from that Royal Brawl PLE, as here's the cover here after the power bomb.
Quick kick out.
Yeah, I got that right shoulder up off the canvas before the referee's hand even came down for a 1 count. So one would assume that Mulan is somewhat fresh. She came into that Royal Rumble match at a high entry as well. Didn't spend nearly as long in that matchup as a number of other women did. Finding a little bit of difficulty kind of getting her feet underneath her here in this matchup. The advantage has clearly been in the corner of Moana, who now with a big scoop slam appears to be going up top. Question is, what is she setting up for here? Might be looking for her finisher. Let's see if she hits it. Beyond the reef. Hits beyond the reef, but costly mistake. Mulan gets the left hand under the rope. Referee caught that. Ernest Wright, good eyes, making sure he didn't call the pinfall with that rope break.
I will be daring to say that that was the end of the match right then and there. Looking for the springboard forearm, connects.
Might have been just the opening that Mulan needed. I think you're right. I think if Moana had hit that in the center of the ring, this match would have been over. Mulan's got new life here in this matchup, looking to take advantage of it. The action again spills to the outside. These two women seem pretty comfortable outside of the ring just as much as inside of the ring here in this matchup.
Yeah, they do, and I think that'll make them good contenders for the Hardcore Championship. Here's a cover by Mulan.
Hoping she did enough damage on the outside, cover in and kick out. There by Moana. Mulan, I think, felt that was the end. And now could be setting up. Whoop. Wait a minute.
Trying to
Maybe looking
showboat.
for the Riptide. And again.
Again, the rope break.
Again, positioning error there by Moana.
I feel like both of these opponents have taken advantage of the other one trying to get the crowd on their side. You can't take too long with that. It helps to have the crowd on your side, sure, but your primary focus is the person standing between the ropes with you.
Big kick to the back of the head there by Mulan. Now she goes up to the top rope. What is she setting up for here? Might be looking for that kick again. Misses.
Miss.
Sidestep by Moana. Now she gets the kick with the enziguri.
This has been a fun one so far. Back and forth we go. Moana
Maybe a second
again.
Second attempt at Beyond the Reef potentially here. No, Hurricane Rana into the pin. Roll up into the pin. Moana looking to put away Mulan. She'll do it. Would we call that an upset?
I think so.
Mulan's got the guaranteed title shot at Paramount, but Moana can boast a pinfall victory over her with a win in tonight's opening matchup. That's going to be huge. You got to think in the future for the resume of Moana.
Something that we're going to have to go back and keep an eye on. You know, if Mulan goes on to win her guaranteed title match at Paramount, we'll have to keep an eye on the results of this one.
We'll be back here inside the FWE Fantasy Dome as we get ready for the second of our men's Mortal Kombat qualifying matchups.
Talked about before in the past is let Mike Rome do his job here.
Making his way to the ring, representing the Rockers from Richmond, Virginia, weighing in at 220 pounds. One half of the men's Superstars Tag Team Champions, Anthony.
Again, like I was saying, we've talked about in the past how some of our Mortal Kombat Elimination Chamber match qualifiers are going to be some one-on-one matchups, being the best performers in the Royal Rumble matchups. Anthony McCreary, very much one of those #1 contenders, and you see one half of the men's Disney Tag Team Champions.
One of the Iron Men in that men's Royal Rumble match, to your point. And Anthony McCurry, we understand, along with his tag team partner Cole Eastwood, they'll be in action this Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday night at Springfield. They'll be putting those Men Disney Tag Team Championship on the line. We're determining the #1 contenders later on here this evening.
Looking forward to seeing how that goes, but now
Weighing in at 230 pounds, the Violet
could be wrong here. I don't remember the last time we've seen Carson Gum in singles action. It's been, I think, since he was in a match for the championship that I'm currently holding.
You are correct. I believe it was a ladder match against Cusco when he held that Wayfinder Cruiser Championship. Carson was actually the runner-up in the 8-pack challenge, the 8-pack elimination challenge that Cusco ended up winning, so he got the first title shot against Cusco, was unsuccessful.
It'll be a difficult ask. Anthony McCreary has obviously been on fire. We've talked about basically every show for the last several weeks how Anthony McCreary has been getting a whole lot done for the family. He was the workhorse in that War Games match they had at Infinity War Games a few months ago. And then he's been on quite a run ever since. We talked about his incredible performance in the Royal Brawl, and of course, one half of the current tag team champions. I almost wonder, it'll be a difficult task for Carson Gum, but if Anthony can win this matchup, I almost wonder if that's just another notch in his resume.
Also got a scenario. We know that another member of the family at a future date going to be in one of the qualifying matchups, Matt McIntyre. So scenario where even a third of the field could be made up of the members of the faction known as the family. But Anthony's got to get through Carson Gum here first. Carson trying to get back into the Cruiserweight title picture. That Cruiserweight Championship going to be defended inside of Elimination Chamber at Mortal Kombat on the night of the 25th of September. Carson with the early power game here against Anthony.
Big elbow drop. Almost wonder maybe he does what we've seen in a lot of matches as of late, go into an early pin and try to win the psychological battle.
Still to come later on tonight in our main event, as if last week's main event wasn't good enough. That 2 out of 3 falls match between Nick Gunther and RJ Bishop. We're running it back, but tonight falls count anywhere as that storied rivalry continues.
Yeah, that gave us one of the most incredible Extreme Rules matchups. Look at this. Look at the strength of Carson Gum.
And that strength was on display in the Royal Rumble match as well. Carson Gum eliminated a few people in that matchup, displaying that deceptive power game. Took to the skies, but a crash and burn as he tried to go for the splash.
Might have took a little too long trying to climb the ropes.
And now Anthony going to try and take advantage here of this, just wrenching back on the neck.
I think he was thinking about a submission, and it might have been locked in for a second, but referee Ernest Wright calling yet another rope break. We saw a few of those in the last match.
We're going to end up getting a point where we're going to have a petition backstage to just get rid of the ropes here from these wrestlers, because these ropes are causing havoc here already tonight.
Makes things some underground matches.
Yeah,
perhaps.
right?
There's a bit of a showboating mistake, though, by McCreary. He tried to get the crowd in his favor, and Carson Gum got to his feet.
Gotta think, if you're Anthony, if you're gonna win this matchup, you're gonna want to put Carson Gum away quickly. The reason being, a lot of times we'll end up having, it's in a running power slam by Carson, so hold that thought. Carson might be heading to Mortal Kombat right now, but kick out by Anthony. In the case for Anthony, we mentioned, he and Cole Eastwood, they're putting the men's tag team titles on the line this Saturday. Most oftentimes when we end up having a PLE, it's on a Thursday night, so they've got a week to recover if they're in action the previous episode. Not the case here. You've only got about 48 hours to recover before you've got to defend the tag team titles against whoever the eventual #1 contenders will be. We'll be determining that in the next match.
Yeah, it's a lot going on right around the same time. Again, we talked about the busy schedules. It's going to happen, though, when we're on the road to this big PLE. So I think Anthony just fought out of whatever Carson was trying to pull off there.
Now, bit of a pop-up forearm there by McCreary. This has been much more back and forth than our opening matchup. If you're just joining us, Moana has a pinfall victory over the #1 contender.
Another rope break.
Again.
People have to know, surely, by this point, that you have to get your opponent away from the ropes.
I hope the drinking word wasn't ropes. Oh, wait, hold the phone. Anthony, reverse GTS. Carson down. Looks like referee Straight says the ropes are nowhere in play. And Anthony, with that move, is going to move on to Mortal Kombat.
One reverse GTS was all it took. Anthony McCreary remains on fire.
You mentioned it's a hot streak for Anthony McCreary. It has been really ever since Infinity War Games. And now he'll have an opportunity, if he can successfully defend the tag team titles on Saturday night with Cole Eastwood. He'll have a shot maybe of being a double champ for that Cruiserweight title as he advances into Mortal Kombat. But up next, #1 contendership for the tag titles will be determined. Welcome back inside the FWE Fantasy Dome, folks, as we get ready for men's tag team action.
Tag team match set for 1 fall. On the way to the ring, at a combined weight of 389 pounds,
And we understand that along with Too Cool, former champions Kronk and Cusco, this is going to be a #1 contenders match. Winner gets the champions this Saturday at Saturday Night at Springfield. And both these teams, former tag team champions.
That'll make things quite interesting as these teams look to reclaim the gold that was once around their waist. Of course, Anthony McCreary probably feeling pretty good about the fact that he was able to get a quick pinfall victory in that Mortal Kombat qualifier match, because now he can focus on defending the tag team championships this Saturday.
Cusco as well, a former cruiserweight champion.
I hope he's not staring me down.
and their opponents at a combined weight of 825 pounds, the Dangerous Alliance.
Former tag team champions in their own right, Hulk and Thor. If I recall correctly, the last time that they won the tag team titles, it was against Nick Gunther and RJ Bishop, formerly known as Vicious and Delicious. And looking to get back into the tag team title picture. Of course, we'd be remiss if we don't talk about as well the fact we got a Tri-Wizard Championship match Saturday Night Springfield, yourself against Dylan Young, but Hulk still holds that Money in the Bank briefcase. We still got quite a long time before we eventually get to Power Up. That's not going to be until middle of March. He can hold on to that briefcase for as long as he wants to up to that point.
I really hope that I'm able to win that match quickly, because, man, I feel like Hulk is going to be sitting there backstage. Somebody's got to keep the briefcase away from him just on Saturday.
We're going to kick this matchup off with a couple of hosses. The powerhouses of the respective teams, Kronk and Hulk, going to lock up. And Kronk's no small man, but he's dwarfed when he's next to Hulk.
Yeah, it's almost crazy how some of the members on the roster are a lot bigger than most other individuals. I'd be remiss to not mention Thanos, but of course you've got big guys like Kronk, big guys like Thor, Hulk, of course, as well.
Whoa, what in the world?
I'm not even sure what I was just looking at.
Thor's very flexible, I guess.
Thought that they would be trying to get away from the ropes, considering all the rope breaks we've seen tonight, but I guess it didn't matter. There was a kick out at the end.
There you saw right there, September 25th, 7 p.m. Eastern, Mortal Kombat. We're going to be having 2 locations, as a matter of fact. We're going to be in Australia, but we're also going to be in Canada. That's where the Elimination Chamber matches will be taking place. We'll spend the rest of our time in the continent of Australia for that night. Little dual cam, if you will, going to be going on in that PLE. But of course, our next stop this Saturday night at Springfield, and we've got some really good matchups that are coming up in that one. Of course, we've already documented that we're going to have, whoa, nice elbow from the top here, cover by Hulk on Kronk for the #1 contendership, and that was very nearly over right then and there. Jack Mitchell, my colleague here, going to be challenging Dylan Young for the Tri-Wizard Championship. The women's world title on the line. Autumn Brooks gets one final shot at Elizabeth Swan. We know the women's hardcore championship's going to be on the line. Ariel defending against Harley Quinn. And we now know that the men's tag team titles will be on the line against one of these 2 teams as they'll take on the current champions of Anthony McCurry and Cole Eastwood.
I believe Cusco has not been tagged into this matchup, and in fact, he just got knocked ringside. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's possible that Cusco could find a way to be effective in this matchup, as I thought he was setting up for a pedigree for a second. It was Kronk, but Cusco clearly the smallest competitor in this matchup, and it's not impossible. You know, you can out-wrestle the larger opponent, as we've seen numerous times, but at the end of the day, it's a tag team match. There's a cover.
And a kick out at 1. Oh, and there goes Cusco again. Man. Just stay down the floor, Cusco. I think being on the apron's a bad idea.
the point that I was trying to make is that it can be a little bit more difficult when it's a tag team matchup, and one of your opponents is Thor, and then he can easily tag Hulk into the matchup, and that's an even bigger man you got to deal with. It's hard enough. I can speak from experience. It's hard enough to take on one man that's very much larger than yourself, but two at the same time, no small
trying
feat.
to get involved. He's going to pay the price. A little bench pressing show-offsmanship from Thor delivers Cusco down to the floor.
We're at a 6 count. 7 count. One of these men has to get back in the ring.
Don't want to have a count-out victory here.
You could.
Referee taking a little bit longer here with the 9. Oh boy, is Thor going to be counted? Or is he going to get the count-out victory? He is.
Yeah, he is.
Wow.
It's not pretty. It's not what anybody really wanted to see, but it counts just as much as a pinfall or a submission, and you're looking at your new #1 contenders for the men's tag team titles.
Thor and Hulk going to get back into the title picture. They take on Anthony McCurry and Cole Eastwood this Saturday night at Springfield. Up next, we've got another qualifying matchup, this time on the women's side, as Harley Quinn takes on Evil Queen with an opportunity to get inside of Mortal Kombat's Elimination Chamber match for the Female Fighting Championship. That's up next here on FWE. Welcome back here at FWE, everyone. Getting ready for a women's qualifying matchup for Mortal Kombat. Harley Quinn, the future #1 contender for the Women's Hardcore Championship, gonna take on the Evil Queen.
From New York, the Psycho Harley Quinn.
And I do have to make an amendment to a statement that I made during that last matchup. I said that Harley Quinn's battling for the hardcore title against Ariel at Saturday Night Springfield. That is incorrect. That will actually be the following episode, a week from tonight. That is when she will, October the 2nd is when she will fight for that hardcore title, giving Harley Quinn a little bit of opportunity here as she's been in action now for the last couple of weeks. We saw her in the tag team matchup last week, now in a qualifying matchup here tonight. Give her a little extra time to be able to recover, be at full strength for her title opportunity.
Of course, we talked a lot about the busy schedules. Here's another competitor who has a very busy schedule. Trying to add to that a little bit as well, has an opportunity to get inside the Elimination Chamber at Mortal Kombat.
Now on paper here, Jack, I would say that if Evil Queen's able to pick up a victory against Harley Quinn, I'd consider it an upset. The reason being, you look at the resume of both of these individuals, not really all that much to boast about if you're Evil Queen, a shorter tenure here in FWE. You look on the side of Harley Quinn, she's a former 2-time female fighting champion, the title that is on the line inside of Elimination Chamber. As a matter of fact, Harley Quinn was the very first holder of that title back when it was known as the One vs. All Championship.
Of course, I feel like the One vs. All Championship, even though it's a retired name, it is still very appropriate for what we're trying to get into here. The concept basically remains the same. It is one against all inside the Elimination Chamber. The only difference is you've got a massive steel structure surrounding the ring as well as all those pods, so.
And it's an awesome way of putting a little bit of light on that title as well, right? We normally would see it prior to Mortal Kombat defended maybe once a month, maybe twice a month if we were lucky in those 8-women battle royals, but the hardcore title is very much in the forefront. The women's world titles being defended frequently. Even the women's tag team titles are being put up for grabs pretty frequently. So to shine a light on a title that maybe doesn't get a whole lot of love outside of some battle royals, put it inside of an elimination chamber and kind of build up its status.
I feel like the same thing's happening on the men's side as well.
Yes.
That's kind of the reason why the commissioner wanted me to get inside the steel structure in the first place, is to put a big spotlight on the cruiserweight title. I'm, of course, not trying to not be a fighting champion, because there's a big splash into a pin.
Looking for the early victory is Harley Quinn, and a kick out at 2 by Evil Queen.
Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, I'm not trying to, you know, hide away from the championship opportunities or from defending the title. I just want to agree. I agree, sir, that the cruiserweight division needs a bigger spotlight, so I'm happy that the commissioner is doing this. As focused as I am on retaining the title, of course.
Harley Quinn looking to continue to add to her schedule here. Already going to fight for the women's hardcore title. Wants to fight as well for the female fighting championship when we get to Mortal Kombat. Evil Queen, kind of almost like what Mulan was able to do back at the Royal Brawl, looking to build a resume of her own, kind of get one started. Trying to fight back here against Harley Quinn, who had the early advantage, and now reversal. Throwed it up on the top rope. Harley gonna go back up to the top again.
Got a good chunk of ground. The cover, and the Queen recovered.
Does not hit with the splash, and now the Evil Queen goes in for the cover after some shots there with the right hands, and a kick out at 1.
For another springboard.
Whoa.
That one hits. Oh my goodness.
Did she get all of it or not? It didn't look real all that pretty. It was almost like Evil Queen wasn't even ready for it. Turned around at the last minute.
Either way, it looked like she got
Twist of
folded in
hate.
half. Oh!
Twist of hate on the outside.
There's minimal padding on the outside. It's going to be a very painful experience if your back gets dropped into the floor ringside. Oh, I thought she was maybe looking for another springboard attack there.
Big shot to the back of the head here by Evil Queen, now in control. Gonna look to take advantage with the shots, the knees and the forearms. Nice Falcon driver.
Evil Queen going for a springboard of her own. That one connects. She goes right into the cover.
To advance to Mortal Kombat, and not even a 1 count. You can see the frustration there by Grimhilde.
And they know what's at stake here.
Now just raking the boots across the face, and a big boot in the corner as well. Harley Quinn a little dazed, and now gonna rein in left hands. See Harley trying to get her arms up, trying to block those.
Can't totally block all those punches, though, especially when they're coming as
Flatliner.
fast. Now a flatliner into the cover. Could this be it?
To advance to Mortal Kombat to fight for the female fighting championship, and a kick out at 1.
That can be frustrating if you're the Evil Queen. You take in your best shot at your competitor, and they're still standing. Well, not standing anymore. Or just kidding, she quickly jets right back up.
How about that? Harley Quinn, we talked about that endurance. Whoa, hold the phone. Oh my gosh.
You said endurance?
Wow, super kick out of nowhere. Oh, and that's only a 2. I thought that was it.
Man. Well, I guess the endurance point is valid after all.
Wow.
Just ate a big super kick to the face. Now a clothesline knocks her right back down to the ground.
Harley Quinn, Autumn Brooks were in that endurance tag team matchup against Angelica Teach and Elizabeth Swan last week. And another endurance battle here for Harley Quinn. Evil Queen's going up top. Hits the knee right across the forehead. This could be it.
Harley
now look
Quinn's
at the
lights are
transfer.
out.
Will this be 3? No, it will not.
How? You can see the frustration on the Evil Queen. She knows Harley Quinn probably should have been pinned at least 4 or 5 times by now. There's another kick to the face.
How much is it going to take to keep Harley Quinn down? Evil Queen has hit her with just about everything but the kitchen sink. Harley
big reversal.
battling back again.
He was able to land a big reversal and get the momentum back in her favor. Hurricane Rana. He's got to capitalize on this momentum. And yeah, we've seen all the rope breaks tonight. Apparently Harley Quinn has as well. She's dragging her opponent back to the center of the ring.
Thought she might be thinking about going up to the top rope, but instead looking for Gotham's
submission.
Gate. Gotham's Gate locked in, submission maneuver, pretty close to the ropes. Can Evil Queen get there?
I don't think she's
try
close
and
enough.
break the hold? I think Harley might have actually released it. I don't think that Evil Queen kicked out. And now, is she going for it again? Evil Queen trying to block it. Able to fight out of it this time.
And that one was a lot closer to the ropes than the first one. Oh, look out!
Enziguri. How much did those submissions take out of Evil Queen? Mule kick up under the jaw.
Another kick to the head. If you're the
Going
Evil
back
Queen, you
top.
gotta do it now.
Looking for the kill shot, hits another knee. And not content.
Setting up for more. She knows Harley Quinn is kicked out of everything so far.
Setting her up, bringing her up. Might be looking for the reverse GTS. That's gotta do it. Cover is in, and Evil Queen will put Harley Quinn away to advance to Mortal Kombat.
Here is your winner,
Evil Queen, a big victory. Gotta be a feeling of relief, finally putting Harley away after a hard-fought victory. But now, first time we're gonna get to see Evil Queen in the title picture, as she'll get a shot at the Female Fighting Championship at Mortal Kombat. Up next, folks, it's our main event of the night. Welcome back, everybody, here to FWE. It's main event time, and we are getting ready for the next chapter to be written tonight. It's Falls Count Anywhere.
representing BNB, Tucson, Arizona, weighing in at 236 pounds.
You know, Seth, when we were getting ready to head to the commentary table tonight, they handed me the paper showing me tonight's match card. I smiled when I saw this. You know, as vicious of a rivalry as this has been, what we saw last week definitely more than warrants a sequel.
Might we say this rivalry has been both vicious and delicious?
It absolutely has.
We saw
slap.
last week in the main event, Nick Gunther, RJ Bishop, 2 out of 3 falls. Nick Gunther taking the victory in that one, 2 falls to 1 against RJ.
Of course, at the time, we were not aware that it was immediately aware
That's
that it was
true.
2 out of 3 falls. This time, I think we're just getting 1 fall this time. Falls count anywhere.
And his opponent, representing Vicious and Delicious, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 213 pounds, the Ghost, Nick.
Opportunity here for Nick Gunther to go up 2-0 on RJ Bishop. Opportunity for RJ Bishop to draw it back 1-1. And I have been told, it's not official, it's kind of penciled in, but based on the results of tonight, we may end up having another matchup between these two heading into Saturday night at Springfield. But a lot depends on how this matchup turns out here this evening.
I think that's a fair call by the FWE commissioner. You know, you want to make sure that this rivalry, if it's not one-sided yet, you could have a conclusion to it on Saturday. But if it does become a little bit more one-sided after tonight, maybe give these two a chance to rest up a little bit. See what RJ has planned.
Hope everybody will join us this Saturday night. Saturday night at Springfield. Got some title matches on the line. Some good card that's being put together. But then in a week's time, be sure to tune in for our next episode, our next weekly episode of FWE. I'm being told the main event for that one, Michael Norman gets his title rematch for the Intercontinental Championship against Robbie Gilvin. That's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match, and I can confirm this time that's going to be the case.
Good, we'll keep that in mind, as that's definitely one to keep an eye on as well. Michael Norman's been trying to sort of reclaim some of his momentum that he's lost since things that have happened really before the Royal Brawl PLE.
He lost his Intercontinental Championship in an 8-pack challenge in the go-home show to Royal Brawl. Failed to cash in on winning the Triwizard Championship at that PLE.
The guy who is the leader of the family, it's a little interesting that he hasn't really been able to make good on what his demands were.
Swinging neck breaker there by Nick Gunther. Again, falls count anywhere, so they could fight all over this arena, and don't think that they won't. We saw last week, we saw just about all the furniture in this arena being utilized in that 2 out of 3 falls matchup, and there's no disqualifications in this matchup either. Expect that they're probably going to be looking for some toys to play with before this one's all said and done.
We saw RJ's back go through a ladder that got smashed in half. And I'm amazed that RJ's even standing and fighting after that.
Just shows
Nick
the
sent him right
animosity
to the ring
between
post.
these two. I mean, these guys were once the best of friends. They held the tag team titles multiple times together, and all of a sudden you'd think that they've hated each other ever since FWE began.
Yeah, it's really crazy to see how things have fallen apart between these two. As RJ very quick to move on when he felt that, oh, there's a big kendo stick shot. He was very quick to move on when he felt that Nick was the weak link of the team. Just shattered that kendo stick over Nick's head.
I'd also like to mention here as well, Nick Gunther's got a future qualifying matchup for Mortal Kombat in a week's time. We've already seen him go through a crazy matchup last week in that 2 out of 3 falls match. Here tonight, if we end up having another matchup between these two on Saturday night, what condition is Nick Gunther going to be in that qualifying matchup next Thursday night?
I mean, what condition is he in now? Probably
Right?
not a great one after everything he went through last week.
He'll be taking on Matt McIntyre next Thursday night, and you got to think that Matt McIntyre will be licking his chops if Nick Gunther walks into that matchup wearing the wounds of this war. Can you see referee Ernest Wright? No countouts. Pinfalls can take place out here.
They can go fight on the stage for all we care. They can go fight backstage for all we care. It doesn't matter. Oh, look at that from RJ.
Airplane spin, head scissors. Going to look for an early cover here on Nick Gunther. I don't think that's going to be enough to put Nick away. But then again, after what these two went through a week ago, who knows how much endurance they got left in the tank. Roll up.
Oh, roll up.
Small package. Trying to steal one here was Nick Gunther. And a kick out by RJ at 1.
I feel like RJ was pretty lucky when he went for that spinning head scissors. His head didn't go into what the rest of his body just went into, which were the steel steps on the side of the ring. Oh, look out.
Hits the Celine Del Sol. Roll up, cover in. Oh, and Gunther just kicked out.
Feel like some of that fatigue you mentioned might have to be wearing in already. They haven't really used too many weapons other than that kendo stick, which is now in pieces in front of our table. Oh, big shot by Nick, sorry. I think Nick kind of lured RJ in a little bit by acting like he was down. Oh, the steel chair.
Oh no, here we go.
First of many.
Single shot across that right knee. Goes for the cover here and kick out by RJ. And you talked about kind of luring him in. I'm almost wondering if RJ circled the ring there for his own benefit as well, just kind of catching his breath for a brief moment.
Something that you can pull off those tactics in a match like this where falls count anywhere, but you have to keep an eye on your competitor.
A lot of times it comes down to the pacing as hits the stunner.
Oh, man.
Does RJ on the outside. Goes in for the cover. Referee Ernest Wright took a little bit of time to get over there, but he's going to get the 3 count as RJ Bishop, and he'll draw this series back even 1-1.
Here is your winner,
RJ Bishop with the victory here. Pretty quick victory in this Falls Count Anywhere match, and I'm now being told we are going to have a final between these two this Saturday night. Last man standing, the final chapter between RJ Bishop and Nick Gunther. We'll see you guys Saturday night.